So I'm going to build a passive mob farm. I'm building it in a taiga. I chose a taiga because you get the most variety of passive mobs. In something like a plains, you would not get rabbits, foxes, so we would definitely want to get the most out of it. If you're building this in a taiga, don't put your spawning platform above Y152. Actually, don't put it at 152 or higher. Put it below 152. If you do it higher than that, whenever you get precipitation, which would normally be rain, but in this biome it becomes snow when you're up that high. Snow can build up on your grass blocks and can interfere with spawning. So build it below Y152, but you want to be up high enough that passive mobs don't spawn on the ground below. So I'm putting the spawning platform, it's actually going to be at Y150. I'm standing at 151. It's actually going to be right there. So that's what we're doing. It needs to be at least 13 by 13. You can go bigger if you want. Really, you can go, since our AFK spot is probably going to be 20 blocks away from the center, you could go 20 blocks out and replicate the pattern I'm going to show you out that far in order to maximize your spawn rates. Start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Also, make sure you're using grass blocks. These passive mobs only spawn on grass blocks. You can't use dirt or anything else. It has to be grass blocks. So 13 that way, 13 this way, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We'll start setting up the patterns. You want a row of grass blocks. Go 1, 2, and on the third one, place one there and do another row, just like that. 13. And do that all the way to the end. Once you have all of your rows, then you got to go the other direction. Cross over. So 1, 2, 3. Connect it like that. So you end up with these 2x2 holes in your grass. Now, if you want to test to make sure that mobs are going to spawn here, just grab you some scaffolding. Go out to roughly the middle of it. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. The middle would be right here. Go to the middle of it and go up at least 24 blocks. And then you see some wolves spawning there. A lot of wolves. And you can also see them kind of, they actually shouldn't pathfind into the holes yet. But sometimes they might push each other through the holes or accidentally slip off. It can happen. So there's a pig. Now I like to put glass around the outside, but you don't have to. You can actually use a solid block if you want. I just use glass so that nothing else spawns out there, out on the outer edge. If you use a solid block as your border, at night you could have hostile mobs spawning on the top of your border. So I use glass so that that doesn't happen. And you don't need a border, but the passive mobs could push each other off the edge. And you don't want that. You want them to go into the holes in the center. So make sure to put a border up so you get your maximum drops. I'll do this part last because that's where my scaffolding is. But once you at least have most of your glass in place, well, we have, let's see, 6 by 6. We have 36 holes. We need 4 trapdoors for each one. So 144 trapdoors is what we need. That should be all we need. Okay, so 144 trapdoors. When you place them like this, put them at the top side of each grass block. Come around, put it at the other side. Now you don't have to open them right away, but once you want the farm to work, you open them all up just like that. We're going to leave them closed for right now so that we don't fall and die. Once you have all your trap doors in place, we're going to go down a few levels and make our collection platform. 1, 2, 3, and then a floor. And this platform is going to be as big as the grass platforms, and so we know it's 19. We gotta go 19 this way. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. Once you have once you're 8 out from each side, you want to build your get your outside wall around this one as well. Again, I recommend glass. You can use a solid block if you want, but I do recommend glass. Hey guys, if you're building as you watch, which I don't ever recommend doing for these videos, don't do the border wall or the gap as I've shown right here at this moment. It changes later, so hold off on that. No, I had to use a little bit of tinted glass because I ran out of regular glass. So once you have your walls up for your collection platform, got to go down a little bit. This is going to be temporary a little bit here. So place here just a 2-block gap between the ceiling of this and where you're going to put your next platform. But this little line here is just to get us out to the center where we left this hole right here. One more. So we're going to go, including this one, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Build up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Build up 1. There. And then fill that in. I have a correction. Okay, so we pulled in this wall and that wall. We pulled inside by one block space. I did that so that when the water flows, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're gonna make this a 1 wide chute right here instead of 3 wide. Now, once you have the platform set up correctly, let's take one more look at it. It's from just inside the glass to this edge, it's 8 blocks. Same on the other side, from the glass to the edge, 8 blocks. You want from here to here is 4 blocks, and then from here to here is 7 blocks, and then from here to this edge is 8 blocks. Okay, so once you have your platform set up correctly, start placing water. Let's go to the far side first. Water there. And you see from the start point to the edge, it stops right there at the edge. And when you place this water, you can skip every other block. So I placed it at this square, skip that one, place it there, because this water source block and this water source block, since there's one gap in between them, it turns this middle one into a water source block. So you don't need to place it there, and you can keep pulling from those because it creates an infinite water source effectively. So you always pull from one of the water source blocks that's in between 2 other water source blocks. At this point, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and wall this off. You don't have to get rid of the scaffolding, but wall that off so that you can place the rest of your water. All the way to the edge. Grab yourself one more bucket. Place it down right here. This should flow all the way to the edge if we did this right. There you go. So the mobs that spawn up here, they'll pathfind over the open trap doors once we open them. They'll fall into this collection system. Wherever they are, if they fall, the water will push them into the center flow The center flow will push them over here, and we're going to put our kill chamber over here for them. Okay, so now we're going to need another temporary walkway. This time below the last water stream for the collection area. So 1, 2, and then this is where we'll put the block that we'll walk on. Go out a little bit, and then head on over. So our kill chamber will be roughly right here. Now, if you don't care to maximize the output, you can just put down some magma blocks and anything that, or campfires. That will take care of the mobs, and you will get some drops out of that. But if you want to maximize your drops and get everything you possibly can, it's better to do a trident killer. And the whole reason I built in a Taiga was to get drops from rabbits, and you can only get rabbit's feet from a rabbit if it's killed by a player or by a tamed wolf. If you use a trident killer, that counts as being killed by a player. Getting killed by magma blocks doesn't count. So once you have your collection platform done, the trident killer is built, everything, it's ready to go, come back up here and open up all of the trapdoors. You're also going to need some light sources to keep this lit at all times, particularly at night. So we gotta light this up a little bit. You can use any, I recommend using a full a light block, not torches. The grass blocks need skylight access in order to spawn mobs, so don't put your light source blocks over the grass. Put it over the trapdoors, but high enough that they can still just walk right into it. So you want to have about a 2-block gap, and then have your light source blocks. You have to have a light level of 9 or more in order for them to spawn. So I just put 1 over every hole. Okay, so once you have all your trapdoors open, you have it properly lit up, it should always spawn passive mobs any time of day as long as you're within 24 blocks, which brings us to our AFK spot. It needs to be at least 24 blocks away from whichever grass block you're closest to. Now it can be up in the sky. If you're going to go straight up above it, go to the center of the spawning area. Should be right here. You can go straight up here and create an AFK spot up here, which is probably what I'll do. How many do I need? So up to 75. 175. Create AFK spot right up here. So you can see a cow just spawned down there. More cows. Pig. So they drop in. Be sure to have your looting 3 sword in hand so you maximize your loot. So if you want to watch the action, you can put your AFK spot up here. Just create a little glass case up here. Just make it all out of glass. Floor, ceiling, walls, everything. That way, nothing can get to you if you want to AFK in here or anything. No. But if you want to do it out to the side, you could do at least 20 from, okay, that grass block right there. If you wanted to go 20 blocks out that way and put a little glass platform out there on any side of this, you can do that too. I said 24 blocks. 24 blocks away from the closest grass block. You go 24 that way, 24 that way, that way, that way, whichever you want. Above it if you want. I would not recommend underneath it because you might get too close to the ground and mobs will start spawning down there. So really up here in the middle above it is really the best place to put your AFK spot. You could go hang out by the trident killer, and you will still get some spawns because it'll be at least 24 blocks away from the furthest part of it. So let's see, our trident killer is over here. So definitely that further side of it, you'd still get some spawns, but you're probably going to be too close to these spots over here to get any spawns. So I don't recommend AFKing it by the trident killer. Really up above the farm is the best place to be. 14, 17, 21. Okay, so after 3 hours, almost 3 hours, it's 2 hours and 50-ish minutes. This is what we've got. I'm gonna go ahead and say I am wildly disappointed by the number of rabbit's feet. We got one I said rabbit's feet. We got one rabbit's foot during all that time. Just that guy right there. That's the only one. We got rabbit's hide, 24. The whole reason of doing this in a Taiga was to get rabbit's feet and rabbit's hide amongst all the other things we could get. Now, we did get a lot of food. We got a lot of mutton. We got a raw beef. We got raw pork chops, raw chicken. We got a lot of feathers, a little bit of wool, some wheat from the foxes. So I mean, we got some good stuff, but. You know, I'm just shy of 3 hours, so I'm going to go ahead and say you get 9 rows of items per hour, which is fine. An easy way, especially if I were to AFK overnight, I would fill all of these chests. And I also wanted to show you, I put another portal here, and I added one to the nether portal network in the nether, so it's easy to get back and forth from here now. And I added the staircase so we can get up to the oh, looks like these guys are spawning outside of where they should. I made this accessible and easy to use and all that good stuff. I want more rabbit's feet, so what I'm gonna do is go to a desert and build the same exact setup in a desert. Why a desert? Because the only passive mobs that spawn in a desert are rabbits. Actually, also, what also spawns there is rabbits. Oh, and I don't know if I mentioned it, but what spawns in deserts is rabbits. Did I get the point across? Okay. So I'm gonna take that stack of beef because that's a good source of food. We're gonna cook that, but then we're gonna go ahead and head over to the desert and make the same farm just for rabbits. Okay, so roughly after 6 hours of the rabbit farm running, because that's how much sleep I got last night, this is what we've got. A lot of rabbit hide, a decent amount of raw rabbit, almost a stack of rabbit's feet, and we got 4 leads. I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't see it for myself. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's some wandering trader and his 2 llamas. That happened twice, and that's how that got in there. So, so looking at the wiki, when killed, an adult rabbit drops 0 to 1 rabbit hide, which can be increased by looting up to a maximum of 0 to 4 rabbit hides. I have looting 3 on my sword, so I got 0 to 4 rabbit hides every time the trident killer took out a rabbit. Speaking of my looting sword, 0 to 4 raw rabbit every time because of the looting sword. What's about 290 rabbits that went through the system in 6 hours. So I'm gonna go ahead and blame this turnout on the spawn rates of rabbits. Rabbits have a spawn weight, not a spawn rate, but a spawn weight of 4 or 20 in flower forest. Maybe I should be building this in a flower forest. Okay, so after an hour of AFK at the rabbit farm in a flower forest, we have 72 raw rabbit, almost 3 stacks of rabbit hide, and almost 1 stack of rabbit's feet, which is a better output than the other 2 options, which was the general passive mob farm the taiga, and then the rabbit farm in the desert, which had really low output. So this is a much better option. So if you want to build a rabbit farm, in order to get raw rabbit, rabbit's hide, particularly rabbit's feet, do that in a flower forest. They have a spawn weight of 20. The rabbits will spawn exclusively in a flower forest. No other mobs spawn. So if you build this up way up high in the sky, put that little grass block grid up there, and do all the collection that we've seen in this episode, you can get all of the drops from a rabbit that you want, including raw rabbit, rabbit hide, and particularly rabbit's feet. Okay, so I'm in a creative copy of the world. I want to do a quick fly around to show the final product. Made a couple of small changes from what you saw in the video, but it functions the same. First change is that I used solid block instead of glass along the border, but I had the lights close enough that it'll prevent spawning on top of it, so it's not a big deal. Also used less lighting, but it still works the same way. You just gotta make sure you have a light level of 9 on all the grass blocks, and don't put any blocks over the grass blocks. As long as you do that, all the spawn rates will be fine. Collection platform is the same as I built. See that? Goes down into the kill chamber, which is a trident killer. Down here. Now most trident killers, they just have a slab right here so that you can get the XP through the bottom, but if you put just a slab right here, the rabbits are small enough that they'll get through that hole, so I had to block off the whole thing. The XP can still kind of leak through the piston, or if you go down below it, the hoppers and stuff down there, you can still kind of get it. But make sure you get all the rabbits that you want to block this off. Of course, we have the collection system down here, just like any other setup you would with a trident killer. And that's our loot. I'll fly around the whole thing just so you can see it the way I laid it out. My AFK spot up here. And here. Just wait.
Electrick Warlok.